And this is the breakdown. And this is how Radio Raheem explained it. And this is how I'm going to explain it to you guys if you haven't seen it. Well, this is, and I'm going to side that with what I already know. Okay, so I already had information the day that we found out, which was Friday, I think. I believe it was Friday when we found out about this whole issue with Daniel Dubois. Well, it goes back to 8 days before the fight. They flew into Saudi Arabia. They flew in that Friday, okay? So that Friday they were there. Saturday, Daniel sparred. Daniel trained, and he looked 100%. He looked great. Okay, that's Saturday. In fact, Don Charles, the trainer, wanted that fight to be that day because he was in such a tip-top of shape that day, Saturday. Okay, 7 days prior to the fight. The weekend goes by. Okay, and comes Tuesday, Daniel Dubois trains again. And as he trains again, Don Charles noticed a change in the intensity, in the movement, in the speed, in the performance of the training session with Daniel Dubois. Okay, he noticed. But he didn't really, you know, trip or flip out or whatnot. Okay, and then the next day, Daniel Dubois did another training session. Now, keep in mind, Wednesday was the media workout. Okay, so I think this was prior to the media workout. In the media workout, it was even less. The performance looked a lot flatter on Wednesday than Tuesday. Okay. And, you know, still he didn't really, you know, it didn't alert him. Okay. Now, this is his own observation, Don Charles's observation. All right. Then Thursday, Don Charles goes to Daniel's room because he's called for another training session to recap. And he goes to Daniel's room, and Daniel, according to Don Charles, could barely get out of bed. He was that sluggish to that point. And then Daniel then admitted to Don Charles, like, look, I haven't been feeling too good. In fact, I haven't really been feeling too good the last 2 days. Now, for one thing, I think that shows you that, like, Daniel is a guy, he doesn't really communicate like I feel he should, but I think he didn't want other people to worry because as a fighter, you're the only one going into the ring. But you also understand it's more than just you involved in the whole team. You see what I'm saying? Like, that I in team in boxing is semi-true. You see what I mean? Like, so he wanted to hide it because he thought, like, hey, I can beat this dude, so I don't want it to be an issue, which is understandable. You know what I mean? And, you know, you don't want, you know, to complain about every other thing. But also, though, you know, it shows you, you know, because he didn't tell his father either. So you can't say, well, hey, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with his relationship necessarily with Don Charles because he didn't tell his dad neither. And we'll talk about his dad in a second. But he didn't want anyone to worry. But it does make you think on what type of communication, you know, they really have or he has with anyone. So they bring in a doctor. They inform Turki Al-Sheikh. Turki Al-Sheikh then brings a personal doctor in, okay, his own doctor in. And they find out that Daniel Dubois has inflammation of the ear. So they ask, like, yo, has he been sparring lately? And they're like, no, he hasn't been sparring for a couple weeks. So they're like, well, that's funny because it seems like based on the inflammation in the ear that he has been sparring, you know, like he's taken some blows to the ear. Okay. And then they found out on top of that, his glands were swollen. Okay. So what that doctor, Turkey's doctor, prescribes him some antibiotics. When he subscribes some antibiotics to him, okay, at that time, well, later on that day, shortly after, VADA comes and they take the blood and they take the urine. Okay, so that right there stops the conspiracy shit. Okay.
To know what,
that, oh yeah, Daniel, he had this, he had that. You know what I mean? Now I know people will still talk about the STD weirdness or whatever, because I mean he was, you know, prescribed antibiotics.
Dabious.
But nonetheless, VADA did their thing. Then BBB came in, took some urine, okay, and then they did their own examination and found out Daniel was sick. And then,
England,
knowing what the personal doctor of Turki al-Sheikh had prescribed him, they were unsure about the antibiotics and how the antibiotics would affect the fight at all. So they asked Daniel, what do you want to do, son? That's what Don asked Daniel. Daniel being Daniel.
Tasfuri with Topaka. Thank God, God bless you. You see, it has 9. Let's see what becomes of them. Thank you.